Should they stop making slave movies and or shows? My opinion, the answer is no. Simply because we need to be reminded of that history. It should not be something that should be erased, buried down in the history books. Okay, and the fact of the matter is also that there's plenty of things on TV uh, displaying Black life in different variations of Black life. And I feel like it's not as if all they're showing is slave movies. The fact of the matter is, the reason why we need to have slave movies and have their stories told, whether it's historical fiction, whether it's somebody like Harriet Tubman or Frederick Douglass, like a real life person who went through it. The reason why we need told that is because if you forget your history, it is bound to repeat. I know that's kind of cliche. People have said that all the time, but it's the absolute truth. There have even been schools that have sent home papers downplaying slavery. I saw one where they were like saying, what are some things that could have made slavery easier? Like it was something trivial, like, cleaning the house or something for minimum wage. They try to downplay it. Oftentimes they try to make it seem like it wasn't as bad as what it was. And we need the reminder. We need to see this. I don't particularly hear Jewish people or people of Jewish descent saying no more Holocaust movies, no more this, because people need to see what happened. I'm gonna tell you a quick story real quick. It actually happened. It's a little off topic, but I'm gonna bring it around. Just like the Holocaust, you had something that happened, another Holocaust very similar to that happened in Cambodia in the 1970s, the mid 1970s, and it was the same thing. You had a dictator who was trying to cleanse the race or whatever, and he had uh, it was because Vietnam is close to Cambodia. So anybody that was Vietnamese, anybody that didn't fit his idea of what a pure race was, were in camps. They were starved to death. They were tortured to death. They had these terrible medical experiments put on them, just like in the Holocaust. Now, we don't hear about that because I hate to go there, but when stuff happens to people of color, it just doesn't really get that much reaction. But anyway, to bring that back around to the slavery thing in the movies and the shows, like I said, nobody really knows about that. Why? They don't show it. They don't talk about it. We need to hear these stories. As painful as it is for us that are of slave descent to see it, I know a lot of times, especially here in the U.S., I understand that the slave trade happened in all throughout the Caribbean, South America. But I know here in America, with us being the minorities, Black people being the minorities in this country, it's like when they teach Black history, they start with slavery. So it's like subconsciously as a kid, you're like, well, dang, okay, so we just started off with chains and being whipped and all this. Then you had Jim Crow. Then you had segregation, separate but equal, quote unquote, on the equal. And now here we are, 21st century, and you're still dealing with racism, you're still dealing with police brutality, you're still dealing with all this stuff. So it could be kind of damaging, like as a Black child coming up, but we need that to be told along with positive stuff, along with movies showing people like Jackie Robinson, Billie Holiday, people that have made a difference in the world. Black people that made differences in the world. We need all of that. I look in the comments because there's a show, I think it's on Amazon Prime, called The Underground Railroad. And, a lot of Black people in the comments were like, oh, we don't need this. We're tired of this. No more slave movies, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, if that was the only thing they showed on TV, I would understand. But, perception is reality. You kind of choose what you want to pay attention to. So if in your mind, all they're showing is negative stuff about Black people on TV, that's all you're ever going to really even that's all that's ever going to get your attention. You're not even going to see positive. There's plenty of positive stuff, man. And that's why in a lot of my videos, I always encourage, man, these streaming services, to me, are a way to watch films from other countries, because I'm telling you, there's plenty of talent, especially regarding Black people, all over the world. We just, if you're kind of just stuck with what your normal little whatever, you won't see it. But you will see see us in a lot of different, I guess I'll say, lifestyles, all over the world. So it's just broaden your mind, because if you feel like there's too many and I can't even really think of too many slave shows out right now. Besides, I know I watched Underground back in 2016, and that was the first time, and this is why I feel like it's important to show this stuff. That was the first time that I saw them have slaves in not such a, hope I say this word correctly, monolithic, where they're all just kind of, yes, it showed them having personalities, show that. And of course it's on OWN now, the reruns. I'm still hoping they bring that back, because I felt like that was so important to show, these people had lives, man. They weren't just slaves. They had lives. Sometimes I think about the first generation of African slaves, how hard it was on them, because they had a life before they came over here, or came to the Caribbean, or came to South America. They had a life. So I can only imagine how hard it was for them to be stripped of this life, and now you belong to somebody just like that. I don't care if they were a cow herder or a doctor. They had a life before that. And I don't feel like that should ever be forgotten. Whether it's in a movie, a movie, a show, taught in school, but teach the kids and adults many aspects of the people that were slaves, that they weren't just these robots walking around. They were people. And who's to say that won't happen again? I mean, in some parts of the world, you do have slavery still. But I mean, as far as it being legal. But anyway, I'm going to get off here. I got to get ready to go to work. And y'all enjoy this Sunday evening, or whenever you watch this. All right. Peace and blessings. Have a good one.